driven by at least 9, possibly 10 gas stations on Route 28, and every single one of them was closed. This is insane. I need fuel. I need fuel really bad. I got people cutting me off. Fantastic. Anyway, there's a realistic chance that I might have to dig my fuel can, my old trusty Mercedes-Benz metal fuel can, out of the lower storage area in the back of the Jeep to fuel up the Renegade if it runs out of gas. So, fantastic. That's 12 and 13. This is insane. Why are how is it there can't be a single gas station open? This is unbelievable. This used to be the old Honda barn. Now it's a Subaru dealer. It's my first official job I ever had on the books. It used to be a Star Market. Now it's a Stop and Shop. This place has been here forever. North Shore Printing. And a little further down the road is Colonial Drive condominiums where we lived. We're about to come up on the Andover line. And this is very insane. The fact that I'm still worried about running out of fuel because there's not a single gas station open. This is batshit crazy. Andover, Massachusetts. And that's Colonial Drive condominiums. I lived there from 1991 to 1997. My parents, of course. And we're coming up on 125. There's actually there's a foundation to an old house that was long ago abandoned somewhere in these woods over here. Discovered it as a kid. I'm sure I can find it again. Pretty sure it's still there. And over here, recently in one of the episodes, Jay Leno was talking about, he did the episode of some Mopar race car. I want to say it was a 66 Dodge with the Hemi in it. He talked about the state police barracks in Route 125 and how everybody used to race over here. And this is exactly the stretch of road I'm on right now. This back in the day is the same stretch of road that kids would race, drag race, and do all kinds of idiotic street racing over here. I'm not sure if this is where he flipped his mother's Mercury. I know he flipped his mother's Mercury and almost got killed in it. That would have been the late 60s or early 70s when he was just a kid. That probably was the same stretch of road. So this is 125 north, heading from Andover into North Andover. So anyway, sorry this video is kind of lame. This wasn't how it was supposed to be, but this is where I'm at. Unbelievable. Miles north of Boston, where I first had my low fuel light come on. Not quite 30 miles, but 20 and change from where I started with the low fuel light. So yeah, not too happy about this whole situation. be honest, that last gas station, I wasn't expecting it to be open. It's kind of a mom and pop place. It's been there forever, but they're not even open half the time during the middle of the day when you're trying to go in. It's still frustrating. So yeah, headed down 125 towards 114, towards North Andover and Middleton, where the old Fuddruckers was. Right here in this patch of woods, in the late 90s, a young girl driving home from her job late at night, I forget what she did for, maybe worked at like a CVS or something. She slid off the road in the rain. Her Celebrity, she was in a Chevy Celebrity if I remember correctly, in her vehicle, flipped over onto its roof, slid across wet leaves, smashed into a tree, wrapped itself around the tree, crushing her and killing her instantly. And because she had a bunch of stuffed animals on her parcel shelf, the fire department used the jaws of life and frantically were trying to hack the car open and see if there was a child inside, which there wasn't. But just the whole situation was terrible. It made a pretty drastic impact on me that this girl was driving something like 45 and she got killed in an accident that should have never happened. And at the time, I remember one of the things I thought about a couple of years later was I was driving my Pontiac there, and that was actually the stretch a few miles south of here, headed towards North Reading. That was the first time I ever did over 100 miles an hour. It was late at night. It was 1 in the morning or something, but I still remember thinking about that. Like, geez, somebody died here on 125 doing less than half the speed I'm doing right now. And this, I'm gonna end the video here, I think. So story time's over. Those are all true stories, though. This is Merrimack College. That's a beautiful library that they have. I went there a couple of times, and I went to Bradford to do a research paper and some other stuff, and they had a few books that Bradford did not have. So that's Merrimack College. I got into Merrimack. I didn't end up going. It was more expensive than Bradford, and they didn't give me the same level of scholarship, so it's kind of a no-brainer to just end up going to Bradford instead. Right there at those buildings, I used to have a doctor over there and TAD Staffing, which was a temp agency I worked for many years. I pulled in one time to go do some paperwork. I think there was like maybe a time card that was not properly filled out or something. I needed to go in and do some nonsense paperwork, and it would have been the late 90s, probably 99, and there was a Porsche 993 Targa, my favorite Targa of all time, and the only one that had a beautiful uninterrupted line from the windshield all the way to the C-pillar. It was the Targa that had the giant moonroof that slid backwards. So it actually wasn't a Targa. It was the one Targa that did not have a removable roof panel that would interrupt the roof from the A pillar to the B pillar. But I actually always liked that Targa the best. I thought they should have kept the window a little more traditional. The window was very sharp in the back instead of having a nice rounded edge. But that car was, here we go, gas station number 15, fantastic. That car was a very interesting sort of I don't even know how to describe it. It was a maroon burgundy sort of color. There's something very distinct about that color that Porsche had in the 90s, that late 90s burgundy they had on the 993s, and then later 996s had a similar shade, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it was interesting. I saw that car, I took a few photos with my SLR camera, and this house right here that I'm showing you, there used to be an old Regal there, a Regal T-Type that was there for the longest time, and around the time I got my license, I wanted to go in and ask them about it, potentially buy it. And of course, it never happened, never came to be, but I still think about that car occasionally. But anyway, that Porsche 993, the last of the air-cooled Porsches, was a Targa, and that was a vehicle that I already loved those cars to death. And then seeing that Targa, I've never been a big fan of Targas because the roof is just always awkward. That interrupted roof line, and I don't know. I just have my reasons. I'm not a big fan of them. But I did love the 993 Targas. And I have never seen another one up close since then. Never seen another one. I might have seen one driving down the highway, something along those lines, but not like walk up to one and really admire it. This is what, 16, I believe? Yeah, Station 16. Fantastic. So basically, I'm going to end up running out of fuel. It's almost no fucking way that I'm not going to end up running out of fuel at this point. The next gas station is a long way away. And alright, that's it. I'm done. This is North Andover High School over here. That little bridge I just passed under, it's kind of funny. It goes from the high school to the McDonald's. I always wondered if they subsidized that thing.